Welcome to LSAT Games, LSAT Everything. This is my new polymathematic LSAT channel. I hope I'm carrying over some subscribers from the regular polymathematic channel. I wanted to focus a little bit more purely on LSAT content, and so this is the first of those videos. I'll be hopefully posting a little bit more regularly, doing some games by request, but then also getting into reading comprehension and argument strategies. What I wanted to do for this very first video on the new channel, though, was a little bit different. I wanted to talk about the principles for approaching the logic games with a very simple logic puzzle. Now, this is not an LSAT game. I got this off of the Reddit puzzles subreddit board, whatever, and it's really more of the kind of game you might have seen in like 3rd grade on a rainy day or a substitute day, where you figure out Johnny visits the gorilla exhibit at the zoo and he's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and Sally has the ham sandwich and sees, I don't know, the snake exhibit or something. On those types of games, if you remember them, you can usually figure everything out. On like a Sudoku puzzle, you can figure everything out. LSAT logic games, you can't normally figure everything out, and so this is definitely different from an LSAT game. But there are some principles we can use to solve this particular scenario that also apply to LSAT games. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. We've got our setup. There are 3 unique colored houses in a line. Each house has a person from a different nationality staying in it, and each person has a unique preference of beverage. And the house numbers themselves, 1, 2, and 3, give us our first into this game. We're going to build a diagram. You don't want to have to keep track of all this stuff in your head. You want somewhere that you can look at, and so that's what we're doing with this diagram. And then we've got some different elements that we're going to be placing on the diagram. We're keeping track of house colors. I'll do a very simple capital R, capital B, capital Y to keep track of the 3 different possible colors. Nationalities, we'll go with lowercase e, W, and S for the nationalities, and then beverage preferences, T, I guess maybe I'll spell that out, coffee, C-O-F, and water, W-A-T. In this particular case, basically we're going to fill each slot with a 3-dimensional element where we're keeping track of colors over nationalities over beverages. For our clues right off the bat, we're given the Englishman lives in the red house. So that's very nice. Red house definitely goes with the Englishman, and let's go ahead and block that off so we remember they always go together. The one who prefers coffee lives right next to the blue house. Okay, 2 things here. First of all, obviously the person who prefers coffee can't live in the blue house, but also we're not told the order. So either it's the person who prefers coffee and then the blue house, or the other way around. So we'll use these little circular arrows to remind ourselves we can flip-flop this around. The second house is painted yellow. Absolute best kind of clue. We can just put that right on the diagram. The person who lives in the 3rd house prefers tea. Again, absolute best kind of clue. Put that right on our diagram. And when facing the houses, the Welshman lives to the left of the red-colored house. Oh, so we can actually combine that with what we already know. The Welshman must live to the left of that red-colored house. So we can kind of extend our block here. I think actually that's all we need to figure out what's going on. If I've got that RE block, obviously it can't go second, and that means that the Welsh person can't go first. So instead we have to fit in the block here in 2 and 3. The red house and the Englishman must be 3rd. The Welshman in the yellow house must be 2nd. So by process of elimination, the blue house must be 1st, and it has to be the Scottish person. We also know the blue house is next to the person who prefers coffee, so it must be the Welshman who prefers coffee. Good on you, Welshman. And it must be the Scottish person who prefers water. And that's it. That's the scenario. That's the only possible way this particular situation can work out. Now again, on an LSAT game, there would not be just one way that the situation could work out. Sometimes they accomplish that by having more than 3 spots or more than 3 elements. Other times they accomplish that by just not giving us as much information in the clues. What they do then is they jump into the questions and give us additional information that sometimes let us work out the entire scenario, but other times only let us work out a little bit more of the scenario. And then of course they ask what could be true, must be true, could be false, or must be false about that situation. But the concrete act of keeping your pencil moving, building a diagram, getting something down on paper, symbolizing clues, symbolizing the elements, all of that should be part of your LSAT logic games process. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's kind of a fun way to think through what we're doing on these LSAT logic games. If you think this is the kind of thing that could be helpful to you in your LSAT journey, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Again, later on this week, tomorrow in fact, I believe, I'll be posting an explainer on Prep Test 18 Game 4, one of the craziest games I have ever seen among the hundreds and hundreds of games that have been released. If you have a request, put it down in the comments. I'm happy to go ahead and work that out and get that video posted, and otherwise I'll see y'all next time.